Hello chess lovers, I have a fantastic game for you played by Garry Kasparov against Vladimir Kramnik. The game was played in 1994 in Novgorod, which is a city in Russia. Kasparov started with e4 and c5 by Kramnik, Sicilian defense, knight c3, knight c6, knight e2, and after knight f6 we see d4, Kasparov goes for open Sicilian, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and e5. Kramnik goes for Sveshnikov variation, knight b5, d6, bishop g5, a6, knight a3 and b5. Though black is getting some holes in his position, but in return black is getting a strong bishop pair and an active piece play. Knight d5, bishop e7, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, c3, black castles, knight c2 and rook b8. Black is getting ready for this a4 move. In case white plays a4, black can capture on a4 and now the pawn on b2 is hanging. But this rook b8 move is also losing a tempo, and now Kasparov plays h4, a very ambitious move. White is controlling the g5 square, not allowing black to bring the bishop to this important c1 h6 diagonal, from where that bishop can cause white a lot of problems. And at some point white can even bring his rook to h3, g3, attacking black king, or play g3 and bishop h3. Kramnik played knight e7. Black is fighting for d5 square, but in return pays a high price, because now Kasparov is capturing on f6, damaging the pawn structure and weakening the king side. G takes f6, queen d2, preparing castling queen side, and at any moment the queen jump to h6 square and attack black king. Bishop b7, bishop d3 and d5, a very important move in Sicilian defense, because whenever you can go for that d5 you have to do it. E takes d5, queen takes d5, and Kasparov castles queenside, allowing Kramnik to capture on a2. But Kramnik first played e4, and only after bishop e2 he captured on a2. Well, Kramnik is not going to exchange the queens, he's also looking for a fighting chess. But right now actually there are no direct threats to white king, and this knight is successfully protecting white king. Queen h6. The queen jumps to h6 square, attacking the pawn on f6, and seeing that the queen alone can't do anything on the queen side, Kramnik plays queen e6, also protecting the pawn. Knight d4, this knight is getting activated, and queen b6. But now comes the rook, rook h3. With this beautiful rook maneuver, white rook is joining the attack. King h8, now comes bishop g4. White can both place the bishop to f5 square, and also Kasparov has something very dangerous in his mind. Rook g8, but now comes a strong response by Kasparov. You can pause the video and try to find his next move. Ready? Now look, if it weren't this queen on b6, then Kasparov could capture on f6. That's why Kasparov is playing knight e6, closing the 6th rank and threatening to capture on f6. A fantastic move by Kasparov. Black didn't accept the sacrifice and played rook g6. Well, if f takes e6, then after queen takes f6 check, rook g7, white can play rook d7. This is going to be catastrophic for black. Or after knight e6, if queen takes f2, then white has a powerful move, rook f3, closing this f file. And of course, if e takes f6, then queen takes f6 check, followed by queen takes g7 checkmate. Let's go back. After knight e6, we see rook g6. Now comes queen f4, moving away the queen with the tempo. Now the rook on b8 is attacked. Rook e8, well, already this is losing. Kramnik was already under a terrible time pressure. He had like 2 minutes on the clock, and he missed a strong defensive bishop d5 move, both closing this d file and also protecting the rook. If knight d4, then b4 is very strong black king is now in safety, and now black can start an attack on the queen side. Let's go back. After queen f4, we see rook e8. Now comes rook d6. That's why it was important to play bishop d5. Now the queen on b6 is attacked, but Kramnik played knight d5, counter-attacking white queen. Now both queens are hanging, but instead of capturing on b6, well, if you capture on b6, black can play knight takes f4, and if you capture on f4, the bishop is also hanging. If rook b7, then rook f4. This won't give white anything. Instead, after knight d5, Kasparov found a fantastic continuation. Can you find his next move? Ready? He played h5. Look at this move. This is a powerful blow. Kramnik captured on f4, but Kasparov is not hurrying to capture on b6. He played h takes g6, allowing black to capture on d6 as well. Queen takes d6. Well, this position looks very complex. As you can see, the rook on h3 is also hanging. If, for example, knight takes h3, then white can play g takes f7. This pawn is just unstoppable. From h5, it's just cutting its way to the 8th rank. If queen takes d6, you can even lose the game after f takes e8 queen. That's why after g takes f7, you have to play queen c6. Though after rook takes c6, again, this is going to be terrible for black. Or after h takes g6, you can see that the knight on e6 is also hanging. If f takes e6, then rook takes h7 check. If king g8, only then white can capture on b6. Again, white is winning. Let's go back. After h takes g6, Kramnik captured on d6. Here comes rook takes h7 check, king g8. G takes f7 check, king takes h7, and Kasparov is capturing on e8, promoting the pawn to a queen. Knight takes e6, but of course Kasparov is not going to recapture. First he plays bishop f5 check, king g7, queen g6 check, king f8, queen takes f6 check, king e8, and only now he captures on e6. Kramnik was in such a terrible time pressure that he played queen f8 and resigned, because after bishop d7 check, black is losing his queen. But even if black played, for example, e3, then white could capture on e3. If bishop takes g2, then bishop f7 check, king d7 protecting the queen, bishop e8 check, king c7. This is a forced line, queen g7 check, king d8. In case white captures on g2, black can recapture the bishop. White can play queen g8. If bishop b7, then bishop takes b5, discover check. Again, this is going to be winning for white. What a fantastic game played by Garry Kasparov. Your comments and questions, please. I hope that you enjoyed this amazing game. Good luck.